Hello guys, it's Simon here, obviously the man. Once again, and today we're going to be doing another Conan the Cimmerian review. Today we're going to be looking at the first part of part 2 of this book, which is, an arbitrary kind of set of definitions, since I kind of just took the book, divided it into 3 parts, and then realized that that would be too many stories in one video, so I divided that into 2 parts each. So there's the first part of part 2, which is the Queens of the Black Coast, or the Queen of the Black Coast, sorry, there's just one of them. The Black Colossus, and Iron Shadows in the Moon. So those are the 3 stories that we're going to be talking about here. And overall, pretty good stuff. I think these are maybe the best stories. At least Queen of the Black Coast is for sure one of the best stories, especially with this amazing artwork. This piece of art right here is amazing. It's really, really good. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that, and then we'll move on, right? So Queen of the Black Coast is definitely a great story. It starts off with sections of the Song of Belit, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be a in-universe song sung about her later on. I'm not really sure what the point of it is, like, in the sense that, is this something that Conan hears later on, or is this just atmospheric for the sake of making the story feel more lived in? Either way works for me. I think both of them are doable or reasonable excuses or reasons, but I wasn't really sure what it was, right? So yeah, either way, it adds some context and it's really good. I really do enjoy these experts of the song. And we start with Conan running around away from these kingsmen from Singara, and he's trying to get to Argos, sorry, the kingsmen are either from Singara or from Argos. I can't remember. I think they're from Singara, and he gets onto the ship that is going to Argos, and he rushes onto this guy's ship. This guy is named Tito, or Taito, I think, and they're bound for Kush, but he doesn't want Conan on the ship. So Conan eventually manages to rather quickly negotiate with him in order to get passage, and this helps out Taito because, well, Conan is a soldier, basically, and it's very clear because he's dressed in all sorts of livery or revelry. I don't know what the right word is, but he's dressed in all sorts of stuff that denotes that he is a warrior and that he's a rather good one, right? And so they eventually become friendly while they're traveling together, and then they end up passing by Shem, which I think is supposed to be some sort of Middle Eastern country. I'm not really sure which one, but I do think it's a Middle Eastern, or like it's equivalent to a Middle Eastern country, but I'm not really sure. It doesn't really matter though. But they pass through this, they find out that there's pirate activity, and then this leads into Conan learning about Belit, and then having her appear right as they're done talking about her, and attacking Taito's ship. And so the ship gets overrun. Conan manages to be the last man left, and of course he battles with Belit's pirates for a while, killing many of them as Belit kind of slowly falls in love with him through his savagery and his ability to battle these men, right? And so she halts her men, she tells them to stop, and then she, throws herself at Conan. She's like, I want you to be my king, I need you to be with me, let us be pirates and looters and, rogues of all sorts together. And Conan initially isn't really all that interested, but he does kind of get around to the idea, and he's like, well, she's hot, so might as well. It's cool. And so Bella and Conan are now an item, and so they are together for a while. It's unclear how long they've been together, but they are kind of together for a long enough while that Conan falls in love with her. Eventually, Bella and Conan drive their ship up this river in Sakiba, I think is what it's called, onto this Blackwater River, where Conan and Bella talk about their religions, which is a really good part of the story. I really enjoyed this because it shows us Conan's beliefs and Bella's beliefs. Of course, Bella, is a Shemite, so she believes in her Shemite gods. And Conan is Cimmerian. He understands that Crom exists, but he doesn't like Crom. He doesn't care about him because Crom doesn't care about Conan. And so he expounds on this. He's like, I understand that they're real, but I don't give a shit about them, and I don't understand why people care about them, nor do I care. It's all about living my life as well as I can, regardless of higher powers, right? And overall, it's pretty good. I really enjoy this aspect here. I really enjoy this conversation that Bella and Conan have, and I think it's really, really good. It makes us do two things. One, it shows us something about Conan, and two, it shows us that this woman character, this this female character, Bellet, actually affects Conan, because this is maybe the first time that I've seen him interact with someone, not trying to kill them or be killed by them. And also, it's the first time that Conan interacts with a woman and also finds himself giving himself to her in a way that I find quite different from the usual. He also ends up doing something similar to this in the next two stories, but I think that was just Robert E. Howard having this kind of idea in his mind at the time of writing these, and so that's why it's a theme that comes up quite a few times. But it definitely comes up with Bellet, and it's probably the strongest with Bellet, and I like it a lot. I think it's great. So yeah, they end up this place. They land and they bring their boat to shore. They find out about this winged ape thing. They go off to this temple. They find a lot of treasures, specifically these blood jewels that Bellet takes and wears on herself for a while. And then shit goes badly. Things happen and everyone is split up. There's kind of a horror element here that I found interesting. I'm not a horror fan, but Robert E. Howard manages to convey this like darkness of the jungle and darkness of magic that I feel adds a lot of great elements to his stories. It adds a certain level of like pizzazz or flavor to his stories that I feel most modern fantasy stories don't really have, or they only have it in very specific moments, whereas with Conan it feels like it permeates everything, right? So and basically Conan and Bellet get separated. Conan goes one way and Bellet goes back to the ship. Eventually Conan has to battle some hyenas, and he gets harassed by the ape, I think. He dreams a dream that shows him information about this place. It shows him that these men turn into hyenas. There's this kind of like werewolf kind of vibe to them. And that this ape, I think used to be a human, but was corrupted by the magic in this place, and is now looking to just harm anyone that comes near it. And he eventually returns to Bellet and finds her dead. And it's really sad and disheartening. And there's this image that comes right after this passage where Conan is just sadly staring towards Bellet. And it was a really wonderful painting, and it was a really good story. And then this is continued later because Conan knows that it's not the end. Bellet might be dead. Most of her men are dead as well, but Conan is still alive. And the entity, this ape, wants to cruelly end Conan, right? And so it's going to do it the best way that it can. And so it's going to be an elaborate plan. And so he knows to be ready for this, right? And so at night, the hyena men, show up. And Conan has a fierce battle with them. He manages to kill most of them. Then the ape finally comes. There's a very hard battle here. It looks like Conan will lose, and at the last moment, right before he loses, Bellet's spirit comes back and helps Conan defeat the ape. And so she has fulfilled the promise she made to him earlier in the story, where she said that even in death she would come to protect him and care for her love, right? And so she does this, and Conan deposits Bellet's body into the ocean, allows her to be where she most liked to be, and then moves on with his life. Kind of this melancholic mood to him. I'm not really sure where this is placed in his life, probably in the earlier side of his life, before he becomes the king of Apollonia, but I'm not exactly sure when. It also helps us portray maybe a change in Conan that is well noticed, right? Because in the Scarlet Citadel, I think it's the Scarlet Citadel, one of them, it's mentioned that he has a Serolagio, or like a harem, and that the guy that is currently king at his city treats them poorly. They're not used to the abuse that he heaps on them. So that means that Conan is actually a very caring man towards the women that he's with. However, this is in contrast with what we've seen him do in The Frost Giant's Daughter, where he basically almost rapes this the Frost Giant's daughter character, right? There's a certain level of like nebulousness, or maybe even what's it called, like gray area there, because you could argue that she is bewitching him to do this, but then she gets scared, so that's when she calls her father Mimir, right? So it's nebulous how you can interpret that, but it shows this growth of Conan, and it's probably attributed to Belith's death, right? So I'm not really sure if that's a thing that is accepted by the wider Conanite community, but to me it makes sense, and to me it feels like this is an important moment for him, beyond the fact that it is, a good story, right? So that's it for the Queen of the Black Coast. Then Black Colossus, it's a little different story. It's a lot shorter. Queen of the Black Coast was actually quite long, in my opinion. At least I felt like it was too long for a short story, but not long enough to be like a novella. It was kind of like in this weird in-between zone for me, at least based on my understanding of what makes a short story compared to a novella. But it was quite long. Black Colossus is quite short. It opens up with this thief going to a tomb, awakens Thugra, and then Thugra Kothan, and then dies. Then somewhere else, there's a prophet that rose called Natok in the city of Kothara, and the city of Kothara actually is soon to fall because its neighbors are trying to take it over, since this country is rather weak politically, and it doesn't have many allies because it's quite different from all of the cities around it, right? And so the princess of this country is currently in charge because her brother is taken prisoner by another country. Her name is Jasmina or Jasmelia or something like that. And she goes to seek Mitra's guidance. So she goes to a god, to a temple to pray to a god. And this god answers her immediately. And it says, go outdoors. The next man that you see, put him in charge of your country, and he will save you and yours, right? And so she goes outside, and she finds Conan, of course. And Conan initially is confused. He's like, is this like a hooker? Am I just getting prepositioned? He goes along with her. Then he realizes that she's not. And then it's too late because he's already inside the castle. But she's like, dude, relax. I'm just going to give you some wine and some food. I need you to tell me what you think about my country. He tells her, the country is going to shit. No one cares about it. And all of the mercenaries, which he's a part of, are very interested in changing their allegiance because there's more money to be made being an enemy of Kothara than being with Kothara, right? And so she gets angry, but it's understandable. And then all of the prince's advisors show up. She tells them he's going to be in charge. They're not happy with it, but Conan takes in his stride. He becomes the leader of this army, and then they go to war with one of their neighbors. And the battle is lost, or is in the process of being lost, because no one listens to Conan, even though he has very clear, very well thought out plans and ideas about what's happening. However, Conan manages to change the tide of the battle for a while before Natok shows up, reveals that he's Thugra Kothan, and then steals Jasmelia away. And so Conan chases after them, manages to kill Thugra Kotha before he sacrifices Jasmelia, and so he saves her, and I think she gives him a kiss and tells him that she's his or something, and then the story ends, something like that. So overall, I think the story isn't a little bit more in line with what I like compared to the Queen of the Black Coast, but the Queen of the Black Coast is significantly better. Like, it is just well made. I feel like Black Colossus is very much like okay, I'm just doing this because I need to get paid, so I'm going to do it quickly kind of feel to it. So yeah, but either way, it's still good. I mean, even the worst of Robert E. Howard's stories right now are significantly better than many other things I've read before, right? So yeah, and then finally, Iron Shadows in the Moon. This is where Conan goes on a bit of a Tarzan adventure almost. So it starts with this girl, this man discussing something in a marsh. Conan shows up kind of out of nowhere, sees that the man is attacking the woman and strikes him down, kills them. The woman is upset. She's like, I did not want to be with him, but also you've just doomed me, because if this guy's men show up and see me and see the dead body, I will die. And so Conan is like, well, come with me. I'll take you somewhere away. And she does. She goes with him. And they end up on this island with this ancient ruins, this ancient architecture, and something hunts them in the night in the jungle. And then there's these statues of black metal that come to life, that happen to be like dark-skinned white people, basically. Like Robert E. Howard is from the early 1900s, so he's a little bit racist, and it is pretty prevalent in this because he mentions these statues, and the way that the characters talk about these statues is very clear. He's like, these guys can't be black because even though they have black skin, they don't look black. Like, their faces aren't structured the same way as black people's. And so it does feel kind of racist and messed up, but it does provide this kind of interesting look at how Robert E. Howard thought about the development of race, right? And like division of race. And so it's weird, it's messed up, but also it is kind of a little bit insightful into Robert E. Howard. And it's just something you have to get over if you read old books. It's not really all that egregious, honestly. It's fairly innocuous, I think is the right word. It's like not that messed up, but it might rub some people the wrong way, and it probably rubbed them the wrong way when they were reading Queen of the Black Coast, where Bellet is the goddess of this tribe of black dudes that just like run her boat for her, right? So, it is what it is. It's just kind of something that you have to deal with. I don't find it to be all that bad because it's pretty like understated. Like, it's not really like all up in your face about being racist. It is just clear that he was partially racist, right? He's from Texas in the early 1900s. That makes sense to me, right? So, so Conan and Olivia are in the jungle. Sometime later, some pirates arrive. Conan happens to know them and he battles them. He actually wins the right to be their captain, but they mutiny against him before he even takes the post. And so he is captured. Olivia manages to gather her courage and try to help Conan, and she manages to do it quite well, actually. And she frees him. And so now Conan has to battle with the ape because all of the pirates were killed by the statues and the ape. And so Conan has himself a little Tarzan battle with this badass man-ape thing. And then they take the boat and they sail away. And overall, pretty good stuff. Like I said, these three stories have this element of Conan igniting the female passion through his badassery, and it's understandable. I think it's cool. And even though the artwork in this section was quite good, like it was well made, especially the part where we see Bellet show up to help Conan against the ape, flying ape guy. I do want to say that a lot of times I felt like the art was placed incorrectly. Like either their formatting had issues when they printed it, or they formatted it incorrectly because they were limited by the system that they used. I think books are made with latex, which is a sort of like HTML thing that allows you to make very specific things with like document control, right? So like it's kind of like a very advanced version of Word. And I'm guessing that whoever made this has some difficulties with getting the right actions and the right kind of coding phrases correctly to put the images where they had to be. But I could be wrong. Books might not even be made with latex, although I'm pretty sure they are. But I don't know. Either way, the point still stands. The artwork is placed incorrectly or placed in places that it doesn't seem like it should be because it references things that happened like 2 pages beforehand. And I don't like that. I think that is kind of like it's clear that it's wrong. So why would you do it like that, right? So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on that. Overall, very good stories. I really enjoyed them. Queen of the Black Coast is for sure the best story I've read so far. I think so. Black Colossus is pretty good, but I don't know where to put it. I don't remember my previous top 5 list or my previous list of enjoyment for the Conan stories, so I can't repeat that or add new ones here because I don't remember all the stories. So I'll do that at the end of covering this whole book, right? So there you go. Thank you guys very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.